Let me ask you this. How long did it take for class to start today?
Oh yeah, a long time.
So what advice would you give to teachers where they mess up, like I did this morning, and class takes 20 minutes to get started?
I would just say,
all right. So today in class we did a couple different things. They took vocab quizzes and the quiz for the book, and just as I suspected, most kids forgot that they had to do that for class, and most kids forgot that, so they were just aggravated. And my answer to that is always, I don't care. Like, I give very, very little homework, and so when I give homework, I expect you to do it. And so if you didn't study for the quiz, then I just don't care. You get a 0 on it, right? I care about your grade. I care about you. I want you to do well. But what I'm not willing to do is make things easy for kids that want to be lazy. I want it to hold that kind of like higher standard. So if you have to chalk the quiz, then you chalk the quiz. So then there was a vocab test also, and the vocab test can be retaken also. And then we read in character to Lord of the Flies. Some classes really sucked today. I don't know what was going on, but it was a total drag. Some classes did a really great job. Some groups, like with my man Ham was doing a really great job today. And sometimes all you need is like one kid that really reads in character, and then it makes everyone else's kind of energy go up as well. So it's good to be strategic about who you have in there. You know who reads the best? Ham is crushing it, man.
Yeah, Ham.
Ham brings it. And you like make other, come here, Ham. Ham reads incredibly well in class. Why do you read so well in class?
Well, when I was little, my mom used to read books to me, and my dad too. And I used to read books along with them, so that helped me read fluently. And like when I got to first grade, I lost my read habits, and my mom made me pick it back up. So yeah.
But why do you, like, you read with like a lot of like vigor in class?
Because that's how. Well, when my mom told stories to me, she read with vigor. And also, when I read books silently, on my own, I read with vigor.
All right. People really liked when you had the steering wheel last week in the video.
I drive.
You don't drive. Yeah. No, and I thought you were raised by wolves.
Oh, no. I was raised by pandas, then a generation of wolves. Somewhere along the way, I found a mom. But yeah.
You look like a panda a little bit. Some classes went outside and started fires with magnifying glasses, which I first did on my windowsill, which was a poor choice because then my whole room smelled like smoke, and I smelled like smoke, and the kids smelled like smoke, and well, I don't think that's just something that you want to have going on in the school.
We're burning stuff.
And then that was it. So I have some interesting ideas for tomorrow, but this end of the year is really like, it's a struggle sometimes because like the kids, like their energy is low and your energy gets lower, and you're just trying to figure out kind of how to get through the year, and it's hard to end on that strong foot. So you have to be really creative to come up with ways, and hopefully, you know, even though sometimes you're super creative, you have a really great idea, it's still hard. I think that's it. Hardin, what are you doing?
You gained 4.
All right, that's Monday. Out. Today we watched The Breakfast Club, which I was really surprised at how many kids knew the movie, knew the lines, and knew the song from Simple Minds in the beginning. Like when when the lead singer yells, "Hey, hey, hey," there were good portions of the class that yelled, "Hey, hey, hey," and that was something I wish I caught on film, but then I'd get demonetized again because that's what YouTube does to me. Then we freeze-framed the movie to the part in the very beginning where the students are like all walking into the library, and we talked about, you know, how do you kind of break down a character, and the 3 ways that we talked about was what do you look like, what do you say, and what do you do. And then we even talked about things like what kind of car were the students getting out of in the beginning? Where did they sit in the room? Who did they sit next to? How did they enter the room? Was it really loud? Was it subdued? Did they try and enter quietly? And then we talked about the way that students often enter our rooms. Like, do they enter quietly? Do they enter super loud and like present themselves in front of to the class? But then we took that information and we applied it to the Lord of the Flies. And the kids had to pick 2 characters from the story. So it could be Jack or Ralph, Piggy, Sam and Eric, whoever it is. And they had to fill out a sheet and say like, these are beliefs that this character has. This is what this character looks like. These are quotes that back up my findings or my thoughts about who this character is, because oftentimes the things that we say so much about the person that we are. And that was, it was good-ish. It was, some classes just locked right into the movie and really loved it. Some classes had a hard time getting quiet. And I just think that this time of the year, the nicer it gets outside, like the kind of, you deal with that. A lot of times too, our school has we have a revolving schedule, so the same periods aren't at the same time every day. And what that'll do sometimes is, if the kids are coming from chaos and they come into your class, or they're coming from a really fun activity, or they come from being outside for a class into your class, it makes it difficult to like kind of like get everyone honed in on what they're doing. So the idea next is tomorrow's Independent Reading Day, and then Thursday we're going to make clay models of all of the characters from Lord of the Flies, because I have this gigantic thing of clay that looks like, it kind of looks like a poop emoji at this point, because the kids kept punching it all day, but this is what we'll be making action figures out of on Thursday. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, at the end of the day, 8th period, Ed was kind enough to like let us crash his class, and I had a DJ come in. This guy, Cosmo Baker, I'm going to link him down below. Cosmo came in and spoke to the kids about the history of DJing and how he got into DJing and where scratching came from, where the idea of having 2 turntables came from. And it was... You know, I talk about this in my hip-hop elective, but to have someone come in that has first-hand knowledge that can actually display, like play a song and then take the break out of it and then show you what song that became. So we talked about, what was the Biggie song that he played?
Ballers, Shot Callers, I can't think of the...
Actually showed the kids how you would like take a chunk out of a song and play it. And I've showed videos about that. There's tons of interesting stuff that you can find on the internet. But to have someone do it firsthand, and then he had the kids come up and showed them like how to scratch a record and then let them try their hand at actually scratching to a beat, which was really interesting. So, you know, all that to say, I just think that there's a lot of value when you aren't maybe the aficionado on a particular topic. It's really great to have someone come in and show students how that's done. Like, so whether that's having like, someone that lived through a situation that you're reading about in class come in and talk to your students about that, or someone that is a writer or is a poet or is an actuary come in and talk to your math class, which would possibly be extremely boring. Have a biology class and you have a veterinarian come in. Like, I just think there's a lot of people out there that would be willing, and I've very, very rarely been flat out turned down by someone that I've asked to come in to speak to my class, because I think people just want to help students, and I very, very rarely have to pay for those as well. Cosmo, thanks so much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it more than I can say. And that's it. Time to go get my kids and make dinner. This is going to be a loud video. It is Friday already. I didn't make this video the last 2 days because it's been too hectic. Wednesday, there were meetings after school, and Thursday, we had... Why did I leave early yesterday? Oh, Brody had a haircut yesterday, and so did I. But today, special guest in the classroom, the offspring came to school. What are you doing here? Don't you have school today?
I have a job assignment.
You know, your teacher watches this. How different is my school from your school?
They get to go on YouTube for a half day, and you guys have a bell for classes.
We do have a bell in between classes. You don't have a bell? What do you have, like a bird that squawks?
No, we don't have any bells or anything.
You just have a lady scream in the hallway?
No.
All right. Oh, this is another one of these Fridays, isn't it? Where I can't really record stuff because
right, Reynolds.
There's a mouse on my shoulder. Bye, Moose.
Can everybody hop in for a group photo, guys?
Oh, we're hopping in for a group photo now.
Group photo? Group photo? Lady. Hashtag group photo. Come on, guys, group photo.
Can you build?
Daddy, go, yo! This is why Reynolds cannot record with kids in his room. Let's go.
I'm a mouse.
And we'll see you later.
Can we just share? Look at this. It is sweet. Something I don't know. So here's my end of the league wrap up because it's in madhouse in here. Wednesday was independent reading, and I don't know that there's anything else to say about that except that we were reading independently of one another. Yesterday we tried two different things. So yesterday we either did one class, we were removed from the room, we were dislocated because the local news station was in my room recording something that had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with students, but they needed somewhere to record. So we went to the art room and had our lesson there, which was a little bit weird. We either read the play, we worked on character description, so the kids had to fill out pages that looked like... So essentially, what we're trying to do here is like, just make sure that everyone knows what each character is. So they had to fill out a sheet, looks like this. All right, that wasn't a very good shot, but if you want one, email me and I'll send it to you. So talking about like, what do the kids look like? What are their ages approximately? What do other people think about them? What do they think about themselves? And then their personal or their physical appearance. And the idea here is that with books that have a lot of characters in them, the kids a lot of times like get confused as to like what's going on with each character or who a character is. And this, we're just trying to like kind of build in that memory. And then yesterday and today the kids on Friday, they had to do a quiz for the week, which is really just to make sure that you understand what's going on. They had a vocab test today, and then this was mixed in yesterday and today. I'm very scatterbrained at the moment. This Ham's trying on all my weird stuff over here.
I got money.
What was that? I couldn't hear you, bro.
I got money.
I'm sorry.
Money. No, get
There's
it.
no chill in my life. The kids made little clay figures. I got clay from the art department. You can also get it from like the dollar store really cheap. And then everyone made, giving an example. Go ahead. David has an example of, I'm not sure what that was.
I'm guessing it's piggy.
It looks like a lamb that was killed.
This one looks like...
So they made some interesting characters. The idea was, instead of just doing like a poster or a picture or something, they created little clay figurines. In some classes they got to do 2, some classes they did 1, but you just had to make one of the characters that we talked about and that we wrote the description out for, and it was really just a way to make it a little bit more fun and do something that we don't normally do. Weird Friday was a dude named...
Aloysius McElwain?
Yes, I think that was his name.
Yes.
Aloysius McElwain? I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is a local artist that I reached out to in a DM yesterday. And this kind of goes to my point of like, DMing people can help get interesting speakers come into your class. So this gentleman, I asked if he would just come in and speak to my class, but instead he's going to come in and do a mural. We're going to do it on like a large 4x8 sheet of plywood so that we can record the kids doing it, and then we can save the piece afterwards and put it in our classroom. It's interesting to me that you can reach out to folks that are professionals at something and just ask them to come in and speak to your students, and they do. This doesn't cost me any money. I offer to pay for supplies, but most people are just like, nope, pay for my Uber or something like that, and then they just come in and speak to your class. So, and that was it. And then I brought my kids to school today. They came in about maybe a little less than halfway through the day, and they hung out. We ate lunch. They ate lunch with the students. They got to do stuff with clay. They drew, and then they helped me around the class, like collecting papers and stuff like that and making noise. Now Marley is wearing a do-rag. Are you wearing a wave cap?
I don't know what this thing is.
Yeah, you get wavy? And there's a slow, silent fight happening behind me. Oh, now you're a ninja.
Yeah.
I have 2 suitcases. One says weird stuff, and one says weirder stuff. And they are playing with all the weird stuff.
As someone who protects Reynolds, I approve this message.
Dude, were you in the box?